And hello, welcome to Solo Playthroughs. We are getting the second game of Aeon's End on the channel. The first game was a heartbreaking defeat at the hands of Rageborn, who I think he was just mad that I had his name spelled wrong in the thumbnail, which I just fixed about 2 days ago when I realized that. So I will try not to do the same thing with the Carapace Queen or the Carapace Queen. Somebody I'm sure can correct my pronunciation in the comments below. But this is a cool one. I mean, this is where the mechanics start getting very interesting. Rageborn is kind of like, I'm going to wallop you, I'm going to wallop you, I'm going to wallop you. I have this strike deck. It's very random, a lot of high variance. I feel like the nemesis to come with the base game after Rageborn get a little bit more interesting as far as how their mechanics work and how they force you to think about the game. So let me get to story time with Greg, part 1. Part 2 will be when we choose our mage, and I just dropped her on her head. Now she's mad. We're in trouble, folks. All right. The Carapace Queen. The Carapace Queen, the mother of husks, the swarm daughter. All these dread names we have chosen in our vain attempts to comprehend this creature. But of all the nameless, the queen has brought the most ruin upon Gravehold, for her armies are vast and lethal, more clockwork things than beasts. There is a saying about the husks, to kill one is to breed 6. Only when the queen retreats through the void do they relent, left to switch and expire on the cave floor among the bodies of those they have overcome. After each siege, weeks are spent shoveling up the metallic scraps which are carried deep into the bowels of the cave. There they are heaped in formless piles, their countenances unchanged in death beyond their stillness and dim eyes. Place the husk track next to this mat, and then you're going to place 2 husks into play on the first 2 spaces of the husk track. Now, so there were 2 things to keep a track of with the Carapace Queen. With Rageborn, all you had to worry about was the unleash, and now you have to also worry about the swarm. And what does a swarm mean? Well, the swarm means whatever it means relative to this little chart, which is effectively a chart. If you have 0 to 3 husks, you do A. If you have 4 to 6 husks, you do B. And we'll kind of go through those 5 levels. Of course, the 5th level on there is you have 13 or more husks. Yeah, you lose. So try to avoid that. And those husks, they can come fast and furious. There are times where I feel like I'm in control, and next thing I know, I blink, and there are 15 husks, and I'm just hoping against hope that the next turn is a player turn so I can potentially do something about them. And notice I said potentially because you don't always have the right spells in play when you need it. So one of the things that I'm always fascinated by when I put a new game on the channel is what the initial response is. And the comment section of the first video was just awesome. Learned a lot about the different expansions. I have decided that because I was still trying to figure out how far down this rabbit hole I was going to go, I have decided that the depth of the rabbit hole that I want to go to at this point is all of the first and second wave. So I have bought I purchased War Eternal. I have the base game, obviously that's what this is, that's what we'll be playing today, and then I have the first 4 mini expansions for the first 2 waves. So it's like Outer Dark, the Depths, the Nameless, and the Void, I think are the 4. So I have all those nemesis, I have all those various mages, and I am excited to continue to delve further and further. We shall see if I go any deeper than that, but that is quite a lot of content. So I'm going to stick with just the base game mages and the base game nemesis, and then we will just kind of cycle through all the different various nemesis I have. But I have mixed together all of the cards, so all the spells, all the gems, all of the relics. We'll go from there. The only one I don't have in my possession just yet is War Eternal, but I do have all of the mini expansions. So some cool content. It's a cool game. So other things I'm going to do, I'm going to change up how I do the turn order because someone asked me a question, and then my honest answer was because I'm neurotic. So I figured if that is my only answer I can give to a question, I should probably change some things up. So I'm just going to make the turn order a little bit less painful to watch, I guess. I am going to try to put a health track in the bottom right corner for this entire playthrough, and you will also notice that I have sleeved up both of the nemesis, both the nemesis cards for the various levels at the suggestion of somebody in the comments. When I really appreciate that suggestion, it has definitely made the setup in between games a lot easier. And I have also sleeved up the randomizers because I just find that a lot easier to get that set up as well. And I'll just leave those cards on the table, like the randomizer cards, and just put the relics, the spells, and the gems on top of that. But first things first, let's figure out who our hero is going to be for today. So I'm only going to go from the base game mages. I've already done Gian or Jean. Someone needs to tell me how to pronounce that name. Gian? I don't know, one of those three. And now we're going to spin my handy dandy wheel, and we're going to get, welcome to the Price is Right. We get Xaxos. I'm sure I butchered that too. So many things for me to butcher in this game. Great. So there are now two versions of Xaxos. The Breach Mage Adept, and then there's the Voidbringer, which I also own, but we will be going with the Breach Mage Adept. Very, very interesting mechanics with him. And we'll see how we can pull this off against the Carapace Queen and her horde of husks. All right, so he's going to have an open breach in breach number 1. Breach number not poo, 2. Breach number poo is a much different thing. Breach number 2 is going to be pointed that way. Breach number 3 pointed that way. And breach number 4 is the closest to being open, although obviously it's still the most expensive. And cool. So I'm going to read Storytime with Greg number 2. Xaxos, the others, they do not understand. For them, struggle is a virtue acknowledged by less cruel gods than these. They ignore the dark around them and seek a world whose name they cannot remember. But I have discerned our road to salvation, fractured and perilous, straight through the heart of the void. We may learn much from these creatures, these divinities, though dark they may be. Theirs is a power to cull worlds, to tear wide the membrane of the universe, to traverse the very emptiness that lay between. Is it not within reason to presume they may also have some means to shape worlds as well as destroy them? Perhaps they can whisper into existence more than their fell armies and beasts. The tools they wield are just that, tools. Who is to say we cannot use a tool for a better end? Yet these words alone are enough to brand a mage heretic. It is for this reason I stifle them, though these thoughts echo behind my silence in a way that seems wisdom. For now I will study our foes closely, and in doing so I shall learn how to lift us from this torment, no matter what means I must use. All right, intense. Not really sure how that matches up with his mechanic, but hey, it's poetic, so I like it. So his special weakness is metaphysical. Special weakness. Yeah, I'm playing Arkham again. His special ability, his special power, is Metaphysical Link. Activate during any player's main phase. Allies collectively gain 4 charges. So in a solo game, you would gain those 4 charges. And reveal the turn order deck and return the reveal cards in any order. There is a nice cycle there if you can get into it, and to control be able to control the turn order deck can be a very, 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 very good thing for obvious reasons. His starting hand is going to be a flare, and then he's going to get 4 crystals. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then his starting deck is going to be 4 crystals. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 spark. Cool. Starting cards are done. Off to the side. Starting hand is going to go. Starting deck is going to go here. Starting hand I will put right on top of our metaphysical heretic friend here. Now we are going to use these randomizers to figure out what our market is going to be for today. For our fun and games today, just give this a quick shuffle, and we are going to cut it, flip over the top 3. We have the Wristward Amber, one of the originals that is a card that costs 3. When you gain this, you may place it on top of your deck. Next, we have the Clouded Sapphire. Again, another original. It costs 6. It gives you 3 Aether. The Wristward Amber only gives you 2. If this is the first time you have played Clouded Sapphire this turn, any ally gains a charge. In a true solo game, you would gain that charge yourself. And then last but not least, we have Diamond Cluster, another one of the originals. Gain 2. If this is these 2 Aether, if this is the second time you have played a Diamond Cluster this turn, gain an additional 2. That can be very powerful, especially with the right relic or spell that allows you to play the same gem twice in the same turn. And there are obviously a couple of those for anyone who knows this game. All right, so these are the relics. We're putting out 2 relics. Bam. Dimensional Key. Any ally draws 2 cards, or destroy this, suffer 1 damage, place a card in play from the Nemesis deck and on top of the Nemesis deck. Interesting, probably not going to use that. And then Mage's Talisman, gain 1 charge, and an ally gains a charge. So effectively in a 2-player game, you would get 2 charges. I'm sorry, not in a solo game, which is what I'm playing, you will get 2 charges if you buy that. So you're basically spending 5 to have something that's going to give you the ability to save 4 and getting 2 charges. Not great for Xaxos, because once he gets his little engine going, he doesn't need that many charges. So neither of those relics really look like a good investment at this point. So let's hopefully get some sort of help here with the spells. Something that gives us life back would be very important against this Nemesis. All right, so what do we got? We have Feedback Aura, deal 3 damage. If you have 4 or more charges, deal 3 additional damage. That could be very strong with us. We will often have 4 charges. Monstrous Inferno. This spell must be prepped to 2 adjacent breaches so that this card touches both breaches and fully occupies both breaches. When we cast it, deal 7 damage, divided however you want. You choose among the Nemesis and their minions. That's probably not worth it in this game. Consuming Void. Destroy up to 2 cards in hand. Deal 3 damage for each card destroyed this way. That can be pretty useful to thin out your deck, even if you just use it once or twice. And then Arcane Nexus. While prepped once per turn during your main phase, you may return a gem you played this turn to your hand. And then you can play it again, which is great. So that would work really well with the Diamond Cluster. But we definitely have a bit of a problem, and then we have no way to get life back. And we will see how that is going to be something we are going to need to juggle. All right, why is that going to be a problem? So the Carapace Queen, her special rules is something I did not go through until right now. So each husk in play, so she starts with 2. It is a minion, and those minions have 1 life each. That can be a super pain because, again, if you get through a Nemesis's deck, one of the ways you win is that there's no cards in front of them or minions in play, and if they do continue to draw cards, because either of those are true, they just unleash 3 times. Well, since the husks are minion, if you get minions, if you get through your deck, you better also have killed all those husks. Otherwise, they are going to continue to swarm, and that's going to be continue to unleash, and that's going to be a problem for you, because if you ever have this filled up and you're unleashing, Gravehold takes 1 damage for each husk that you can't put on this little chart here. All right. When a husk is placed into play, place it on the next available spot on the husk track. Obvious. When a player deals damage to a husk, that player may suffer 1 damage to distribute the damage dealt over multiple husks. Now you see why not having any ability to heal could be a wee bit of a problem. All right, 2 solo game. I'm putting 1 of the Nemesis tier 1 cards in play, 3 of the Nemesis tier 2, and all of 7 of the Nemesis tier 3. And since I do have the expansions, I do have 1 extra base card for all 3 tiers. So I will shuffle the tier 3 cards and take 1 out. All right, rest of the rules. So we already talked about the damage distributing to multiple husks. And then finally, when a Carapace Queen has 15 husks in play and must place another, Gravehold suffers 1 damage instead. So again, you will definitely want to make sure, if you're trying to win by not giving the Carapace Queen 60 damage, you better have a way to make sure that you can take care of all those remaining husks. All right, so I'm going to put, this is the tier 1 cards, those are shuffled, here's the tier 2 cards, so it's again 3 Nemesis cards, 3 of the base cards, and then we'll just get the tier 3 cards real quick. We're just going to take 1 off the top, take it out of the game, bam, this goes here. And now we have our 10 tier 3 cards. Cool, so I'm gonna take a quick break here. I'm gonna get all the spells and the relics and the gems that I need, put them in play, get this lighting adjusted a little bit, and we shall be back and ready to start in just a moment for you. And all right, so everything is set. I don't really like my chances here. There's not a lot of good options with just doing kind of 1 damage at a time, which is pretty important with playing against the Carapace Queen. So we're gonna need to figure out a way to, we need our health. So obviously we start with 10 life. We need to figure out a way to really make our big attacks against the husks count, because we're going to need to use our life very, very cautiously here. So again, no way to gain a life, no way to just do little damage here and there. So it's gonna be tough. We're gonna definitely need to. There's one of the early minions that come out in the stage 1 cards that we're gonna need to be able to knock out off the bat, or I think we're gonna be kind of doomed in how this plays out. So gonna be an interesting challenge. I don't feel confident, but hey, that's why you play the game. So let's get started. So I'm gonna leave the turn order cards face up and still roll the die, because again, I hate shuffling 5 cards. Does not feel random to me. So we have Wild. So that is a player. Again, a solo game. You have 3 player cards. They can be any you want. I just took the 2 number 1s and the Wild. Now I'm going to, again, I have nothing to cast, so casting phase comes and goes. I'm going to prep. Flare. Flare says reveal. This is the special card for Xaxos. Reveal the top card of the turn order deck and then place it back on top of the turn order deck. If you revealed a player turn order card, deal 3 damage, otherwise deal 1. Now obviously I will just roll a die, and then that will be the one that's next, and that'll be my version of revealing it. Great. Great. So I have 4 Aether. I'm going to get, I think we get the Diamond Cluster, and see if I can't get the Arcane Nexus to really start pumping up my my Aether potential. So Diamond Cluster, I gain that. That goes on the bottom. The 4 crystals I used go on top of that. All right. So I draw up the 5 cards in the draw phase. I have a spark, 4 crystals. And now we go to the next turn. Next turn is going to be number 3. That is a nemesis turn. So main phase, there's nothing in the main phase to carry out. So we go to the draw phase, and it is now Bane's Sire, persistent, unleash. Every time we unleash, we'll be putting 2 more husks in play. That's a rough one. All right, so that's that's not good. That's really just bad. Yeah, let's keep going. So that was the nemesis turn. We rolled a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nemesis goes again. Nemesis unleashes. So now we have 2 more husks in play because of the Bane's Sire effect. And then we will draw a card. It is the Carapace Queen Swarms. So with 4 husks, what do we do? So swarm, 4 to 6 husks. We have to discard a prep spell, which is unfortunate because we would have been able to do 3 damage with that, because we know that would have been a player turn, and then we put 2 husks in play. So that is 6 husks. This goes out of play, and now we go to the next turn. I don't need to roll. The next 2 turns will be player turns. So this turn, nothing to cast because again I had a discard based on the swarm. So now I'm going to prep my spark. I have a purchase power of 4 Aether because of the 4 crystals again, and I'm going to get myself another Diamond Cluster and see if I can't get myself an Arcane Nexus pretty soon. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my draw phase. Next turn, again, player turn. I'm going to cast this spark in the casting phase. I'm going to do 1 damage to the Bane's Sire. Doesn't make any sense to kill 1 husk when every time he goes we're putting in 2. And then I have a purchase power of 6 Aether. I'm going to get a I will get a feedback aura. I want a feedback aura or a clouded sapphire. No, I'll get a clouded sapphire. I'm gonna need the big wigs here. So I want to get an Arcane Nexus. I want to get a Consuming Void, and I think I will leave. I'm gonna put the Diamond Cluster near the top so I can try to get it hooked up with my other Diamond Cluster. All right. So that is 4. That is 5. Great. We now go to the next round. I'm just gonna put these 5 cards here, and then we're gonna start over again. So I rolled a 4. It's another player turn. Nice. So I'm gonna put Flare in play, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm gonna get a feedback aura this time. That will do, and I will keep my Diamond Clusters very close in my deck. We go to the draw phase. Crystal, Spark, Clouded Sapphire, Crystal, and Crystal. Okay, so next turn is going to belong to, that's a 6, not helpful, that's a 3. It's going to belong to a Nemesis. Bane Sire goes. What happens? He is going to put 2 husks in play because of his Unleash as his persistent ability. Draw phase. Put a husk into play for each turn order card in the turn order discard pile. That is 2. Alright, and now we go to the next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roll the 6. It is a player turn. I'm going to cast the Flare. When I cast it, reveal the top turn card of the turn order deck. Top card will be a player turn. So since I did that, I get to deal 3 damage. I'm going to deal 3 damage to the Bane Sire. Now in the main phase, I'm going to prep a Spark. I have Clouded Sapphire. It's 3 Aether plus any ally gains a charge. Nope, well, there is no ally, so I gain a charge. And then I have 3 more Aether to spend. With my 6 Aether, I think it makes some sense to try to open one of these puppies. I want to try to open one that's going to give me some extra damage. Now, remember, it's going to cost me, if I focus this all the way through, it's going to be 3, 6, 9, 12 to open up this breach. It's going to cost me 4, 8, 12 to open up this breach. So you almost have incentive to open up number 4, because why the heck not? So that's going to be 4 Aether. And then I have 2 leftover Aether, which I will get myself another charge. Try to get that cycle going pretty quick. So I'm going to put the Clouded Sapphire on the top, getting closest to the diamond clusters, try to get some big money hands in the next couple of turns. I did it! Both my diamond clusters. Awesome. So we know that this is a player turn, thanks to Xaxos' Flare. I'm going to deal... Oh, man. Well, I will deal 1 damage to knock off a thingy. Yeah, that's the official word. To knock off a husk, because I'm probably going to have the feedback aura kill the Bane Sire. Maybe not. Yeah, it doesn't. At this point, I'm in trouble. So now I'm going to play in the main phase Diamond Cluster. Gives me 2 Aether. I'm going to play a second Diamond Cluster. Since it's the second time I played a Diamond Cluster, I have 6 Aether total. Again, if this is the second time you have played a Diamond Cluster this turn, gain an additional 2 Aether. So 2 plus 2 plus the additional 2 is 6. That's 7. That's 8. So 8 Aether. I'm going to get myself an Arcane Nexus, because that will really help, especially with these Diamond Clusters. And then I'm going to prep a Feedback Aura. Right. 1, 2, 3, bam, 4, and 5. Awesome. So Nemesis turn, Unleash, putting 2 into play, and then this guy, Brood Womb. If there is at least 1 husk in play, prevent all damage dealt to this minion. Place a husk into play as a persistent effect. So ultimately, they'll be putting 3 husks into play every round, which is very bad. All right, next turn. I rolled a 2. Nemesis turn. Wow, this is gross. 3 husks in play. Because again, persistent effect. Draw phase. Oh, Venomite. Well, that's wonderful. Another minion to attack us. And that's not great. Next, we rolled a 6. Not helpful. We rolled a 1. Player turn. Right. So, I am going to... Cast that makes no sense. Yowza. I guess I should cast it. That's fine. I'm going to cast this. Gives me 3 damage. I'm just going to do 2 damage to Bane Sire, because again, every time he tries to unleash now, it's going to be damage to Gravehold. So we'll try to prevent that. So actually killed somebody. I'm going to prep the Flare. I have 4. I'm going to focus this Breach. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So again, if we swarm right now, we lose because of what's on here. So we'll go through these tiers. Place 4 husks in play. Any player discards a prep spell. Place 2 husks in play. 7 to 10 is Gravehold suffers 5 damage. 11 to 12 is the player's the lowest life suffers 3 damage. Discard a husk, and then if you have 13 or more, the players lose. Remember, we only have room for one more on there, and that would, if next nemesis turn, that's going to happen because of Brood Womb. So I rolled a 5/6. So here we go. Brood Womb makes that go into play. I have to suffer 2 damage or discard a prep spell that costs 3 or more. I don't have any, so that's not good. And now we draw, and now we have the Cauterizer. Wow. Okay. Cauterizer does damage equal to his life. Not good at all. 2 player turns in a row. So this, now again, if I reveal the next one, it's going to be a player turn. So that's going to be 3 damage, which I can do to the Venomite. I'm going to prep the Spark. I'm going to play Clouded Sapphire. The first time I played it, I get a charge. I'm going to play Arcane Nexus. Nope. So that's 3 Aether. 4 Aether. I'm going to open this. I'm going to play Arcane Nexus. While prepped once per turn during your feint phase, you may return a gem you played this turn to your hand. So I return it. I still have, so I spent all 4 Aether. Now I get to replay that, but it's not the first time, so I don't get the charge this time. But I have another 4 Aether to spend, and this time I will get I'll get 2 more charges. 1 and 2. Cool. Cool. All right. Drawing up to 5 with the draw phase. And 2. So we got a diamond cluster, crystal, feedback aura. I'm going to, this is my turn. I'm going to cast the Arcane Nexus, deals 4 damage, +1 on cast, so that's 5 damage to Venomite. I'm going to cast the Spark, kill the Venomite. On my main phase, I'm going to prep Feedback Aura. I'm going to do my special ability. So I'm going to spend all 5 of my charges, but then allies collectively gain 4. So I'm going to gain 4 right back. Reveal the turn order discard pile. Oh, return order deck. Oh, great. Right. So reveal the turn order deck. Now, what happens when there's no more deck? Because these are all the discard pile. Well, you would reconstitute the deck as per the rules of Aeon's End. Whenever there's not a deck with something would target a deck, you reconstitute it. And now I could basically set this in any order. I need time and lots of it. So I'm going to get 2 player turns, a nemesis turn, a player turn, and the nemesis turn to give me a few turns in a row to try to get some control over this. And I'll just put this face down to remind me that I have done my special magical thing here. Great. I'm going to now play the diamond cluster for 2 Aether, the other diamond cluster that's 6 Aether total, crystal, that's 8 Aether total, and I'm going to take a consuming void and try to get rid of some of my crystals to thin this deck out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, next turn. We have, yikes. We have yikes, kids. We have yikes. All right, I'm going to play, I knew it was a player turn. I'm going to casting phase, I'm going to deal 3 damage. If I have 4 more charges, which I do 3 additional damage. Now, since I'm casting it from the 4th breach, that's 1 more damage, so 7 damage. I'm going to take a damage so I can spread that out among all of these minions. So boom, boom, boom. I have killed 7 of these husks. Again, it took a life, which isn't great, but it is what I have to do. Man, the Cauterizer is going to start eating into my life here too, which is no bueno, but kind of had to do it. So I'm going to prep the flare. I have a purchase power of 4. I'm going to use that 4 to, I'm going to get a charge back, and then I'm going to open, I'm going to focus breach number 2. And now it's just 4 to completely open it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Cool, my turn. We know it's another player turn. I'm going to cast a flare. We know this is a nemesis turn. right? But I do 1 damage to the Cauterizer because I need to start protecting my life. I actually might reset this turn order again. Ugh. The Cauterizer's not a good mix with these cards, man. I'm gonna prep the Spark. I'm gonna prep the Arcane Nexus. I'm gonna play the Clouded Sapphire. I get a charge. You know what? I'm gonna use my ability again. I'm gonna put the player turn on top. And I know it's 2 Nemesis in a row, but I think I'm toast otherwise. So I use my ability again. Again, I spent 5 charges. I get 4 back. Now I'm going to play the Clouded Sapphire, which, magically gives me a charge. That's 3 Aether, 4 Aether, 5 Aether. Oh, and then Arcane Nexus. I can bring this back into my hand and play it again. So that's 8 Aether. I'm going to get 8 Aether. I'm going to open this breach, and I'm going to focus this breach. Let's get all my breaches open. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now remember, the thing with the Cauterizer, no matter how much damage I do to it, it only takes 1. So this is gonna be a little wasteful, but I need to protect my life big time here. So I'm going to go, I know it's a player turn because I did that. So I'm going to cast the Arcane Nexus. I'm going to do 5 damage to Cauterizer. Oh, he reduces it to 1. And then I'm going to prep and cast a Spark. Let's get rid of the Cauterizer. Bam. That was a really weird turn of events. And now I need to prep Consuming Void there. I have a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I play 2 Timing Clusters, Crystal, and I'm going to open this breach. So all my breaches are open. But now I'm going to be at the mercy of the next 2 Nemesis turns to see if I still really actually have a shot here. So what's the next turn? All right, Nemesis turn number 1. We put 1 Husk into play. We pull this card to discard, lose 4 charges, power 2. All right, next turn, main phase, we do the persistent effect of the Brood Womb. We lose a take out power off of this. I really hope the next turn. Now again, the thing with Metaphysical Link, you can only activate this during any player's main phase. So I'm a little bit at the mercy. I'm 60% to be able to stop this, and I'm 40% to just be utterly screwed. Ooh, Foul Multitudes. Husks have 2 life. Immediately you unleash. When you unleash, again, the unleash ability is you place 2 more husks into play. So you see how that continues to become a problem. And this is a power 3. All right. Hoping against hope that we get a player card. 1, 2, or 3, please. I rolled a 6. There's only 5 cards. I rolled a 6. There's only 5 cards. The tension. Oh! We lose. Okay, that sucks. All right, so here I am, just kind of going through my process. We are going to reset the market, and normally I would just play with a market until I win, like a market mage combo. And sometimes you just notice I would have had to get absurdly lucky. So I think that was a cool example of what can go really wrong. But I think it was short enough that let's just kind of get another one on here real quick. So we're gonna get a new market, hopefully a little bit more helpful. So the Haunted Barrelite is gain 2 Aether or discard a card if you do gain 2 charges. The Painstone. I love the Painstone against the Carapace Queen, and then Diamond Cluster again. So that's a much better arrangement. So I think that will give us a little bit more chance. Again, the Painstone, just that ability to deal 1 damage at a time really helps stay on top of the husks, right? So, and again, the more husks you can kill without having to take a damage to do it, the better. We are going to do Bottled Vortex and the Riddle Sphere. So for those that wasn't clear, we lost because what happened? So we would have had to do the next Nemesis turn. We would have had to, the Carapace Queen would have swarmed, which would have, I would have lost 3 damage and had to discard a card. But then it would have unleashed, put 2 more husks out, and then I would have swarmed again. And again, it would have been at 14 husks, so the players would have lost. So I should have probably spelled that out at the time. I just was, you know, I was just in stunned silence and upset for obvious reasons. All right, the Riddle Sphere is gain a charge, or you may lose 2 charges. If you do, gain 5 Aether. That could be an interesting little card with Xaxos because of the way that he continues to get his charges back. So we'll see how we want to do that. Sorry, I had a little bit of a screen up because things are really bright, but I think just for some reason now I think we'll be better this way. All right. Sometimes I feel this camera has a mind of its own. All right, let's take these spells off. And we're going to shuffle these. And then again, if we can get any spell to give us a chance to gain some life back, that would be very nice. But Phoenix Flame, deal 2 damage. You may lose a charge to deal 2 additional damage. Don't mind that. Dark Fire, discard up to 2 cards in hand, deal 3 damage, or each card discarded this way. Oblivion Swell, well prepped. During your turn in your main phase, you may gain 1 Aether. Cast, deal 2 damage. You may discard a gem. If you do, deal additional damage equal to its cost. And the Devouring Shadow. While prepped, once per turn in your main phase, you may destroy a card in your hand. I really like these cards a lot better. I like them because they're cheaper and they deal like smaller amounts of damage. And against the Carapace Queen, if you have a card that can do 8 damage, but you're only using it for 1 little husk, it feels really like bad. And obviously there's an inefficiency in the cost to damage ratio against the normal nemesis. You get those big cards can do a lot of damage. Here, if you're going, oh, this only does 2 damage anyway. Okay, that's fine. I can use a card that costs 3 that does 2 damage to do 1. You get enough of these and enough of the pain stones, you're actually, you're just kind of doing 1 damage here, 1 damage there. It really helps, again, keep those husks under control. At the same point, there's a couple of bigger spells there. That Dark Fire can get a big chunk damage amount out there when you need it. Oh, what did I just do? I just shuffled the Carapace Queen cards in because I'm yammering away. That can get you some chunk damage when you're going to need it because there are a couple of minions guaranteed to come our way. I need 3 of the tier 2 cards. I will shuffle them in here. So yeah, again, as I was saying, I would normally, go with the same market a couple of times. And usually I can win in like the second or third try if I don't win on the first. But I thought with that market and this, like Brahma would have been interesting. Brahma's ability to gain life is massive against the Carapace Queen, and we had some really nice spells that would have been a much more interesting matchup, I think, with the market that we had. But again, I think the way those what did I just do? Yeah, we just need 1 of these. The way the nemesis cards came out, I think we were pretty SOL. All right, I'm going to get this market ready with the cards. Oh, notice I didn't reshuffle the bottom. Since we didn't touch any of the stage 3 cards, we didn't even get that far. I just left those the same. All right, so let me get the cards in the market and we shall be back in a moment. All right, let's get at it again with the new market. I like it better than the old market. Gonna try to get some bloodstones, maybe a Devouring Shadow. Oblivion Swell can be pretty strong. Don't really love the Dark Fire, but it could come in handy. Riddle Sphere is interesting, right? It's a nice little, you get 1 charge, next time you can spend it to get 5 Aether, so there's some stuff going on there. Battle Vortex might be a thing to go for as well. So, but also trying to get the 5 charges as soon as possible so I can start getting my little cycle of Metaphysical Link going, which is pretty strong. All right, so here we go. I rolled a 6, of course, not helpful. I roll a 1, play a turn. Flare, please. Charging, buying power of 4 Aether. I will get myself a diamond cluster. That is French for cluster, or something like that. Cool. I guess I speak French and Gravehold in my head, which is fine. There's a lot of crazy things in my head. Nemesis, main phase, nothing, draw phase. Place a husk into play for each turn. Order card in the discard pile. That is nice. Only 2. Only 2. Could be way worse. All right, done. Rolling. Roll the 3, so I'll get the middle card. Player turn. I will cast my flare. How much flare does Greg have? As misses playthroughs, might not be that much. All right, so it is a play. I roll a 2, so I'll take the first card. We are going to get 3 damage. If I want it, I do want it. Let's get on top of these husks a little bit. So I think that makes sense. So I'm going to do 3 damage. I just wiped out 3 of those husks. I'm going to prep the spark. I have 4 aether. With the 4 aether, I will get another diamond cluster. All right. That's done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know this is a player turn. I'm casting the spark. So there are no husks in play. I have a purchase power of 6. I want to get myself a pain stone. I love me the pain stone against the Carapace Queen. I just really like its ability just to knock off a husk here and there. Nemesis. So main phase, nothing. Draw phase. We get ourselves Broodwomb himself in the house. Maybe we can kill him before more husks come into play. Again, Broodwomb has that persistent ability of putting more husks in. And I rolled a 5, so I don't so much for my window of opportunity there. Main phase, draw phase. It is a Woven Sky, a power card. To discard 3 cards in your hand. Power 2, unleash. Any player suffers 4 damage. Well, that's a non-starter, so I guess I'm discarding 3 cards in my hand. Next, what do we got? 2, going both the Nemesis turns. Okay, so Broodwomb, persistent ability, 1 power off Woven Sky. Next, Carapace Queen swarms. What happens when she swarms? Well, there's 2 husks in play, so we place 4 more of these bad boys in play. Not ideal, but what is ideal is I have 3 player turns in a row, so I'm going to I have nothing to cast in my casting phase. I'm going to prep the flare. I have a purchase power of 5, but I'm actually going to get rid of Woven Sky while I have these 3 crystals in my hand. So I'm going to discard 3 crystals to get rid of Woven Sky. And with my buying power of 2 aether, I'm going to focus Breach number 2. Next, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to have a player turn. I'm going to cast the flare. I'm going to look. Oh, the next card in the turn order deck is a player turn, so I can do 3 damage. I'm going to take a damage to do 3. Knock off those husks. I'm going to prep a spark. I'm going to play the pain stone. I'm going to take 2 aether and the 1 damage to knock off another one of those suckers. And now I have a purchase power of 5. With that purchase power of 5, I'm going to buy an Oblivion Swell and see if I can't knock off the Broodwomb pretty soon. I draw up to 5 in the draw phase. It's 5 crystals. That's special. All right, last of my turns. Spark, 1 damage. I have a purchase power of 5. I'm going to buy... yeah, I should have... Let me do this. Nah, I wasn't paying attention to my my diamonds. I didn't try to get them together, so that's my fault. So I'm going to try to do that better next turn. So I know that diamond is there. Oh, I had a purchase by 5. I'm going to put that up here on the previous turn, and then I sparked the casting. So I'm going to put that diamond cluster there. Although I don't have a diamond in my hand, so actually maybe that's not helpful. I'll put this diamond below the pain stone. That I know I could do for sure. All right, now I have a 5. Ugh. That's what I have to say about that. Oblivion Swell in this hand doesn't make any sense. Because, well, I guess if it's prepped, I might need the extra aether. I guess I'll take another Oblivion Swell. I just like it better than Dark Fire. Or I could. This isn't insane. You know what? If I get a Battle Vortex, a Bottled Vortex, it's not my normal strategy. This is like definitely a Mrs. Playthrough strategy, but I think it would make sense to get 2 crystals out of my hand, just make my deck that much more efficient. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's get to the next round of turns here. Whose turn is it? It is a 6. There is no play at 6. 1, Nemesis, Broodwomb, put something in play, because of course he does. And now the draw phase. Carapace Queen swarms twice, or any player suffers 4 damage. Ugh. Oh, does it make sense for me to suffer 4 damage? No! So she's swarming twice, so it's going to put 4 husks in play the first time. And then I have to discard a prep spell. I do not have any prep spells to discard, so, but we do put 2 more husks in play. So we went from 2 husks to 8 husks, and I don't love it, but it seemed like the best move at the time. All right, player turn. Wild. We are going to prep an Oblivion Swell. I'm playing a Diamond Cluster. I'm playing another Diamond Cluster. So it worked. They came together. All right, so that is 6 Aether, 7 Aether. As long as the Oblivion Swell is prepped, that's an 8th Aether. 8th Aether. Say that 7 times fast. All right, I'm going to open. All right, I'm going to focus Breach 3. I'm going to open Breach 2. That's 6 Aethers total. I have 2 more Aether. I'm going to prep Flare. I'm going to take a charge. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think we're in business. Let's go. Next turn, it's 5/6. That is a player turn. I'm going to cast Oblivion Spell. I'm going to discard the Painstone. All right, so I'm going to take a damage. So again, Oblivion Spell does 2 damage plus the cost of a gem that I discard. So I'm going to do 8 damage. I'm going to wipe out all these suckers. Now I'm going to cast the Flare. The next turn is going to be a player turn, so I get to do 3 damage to Broodwomb. He's down to 2. Knocking him out would be massive. Use that 1 husk a turn for the nemesis. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it is, and it's a giant pain. So Oblivion Swell, Spark. I have 3 Aether, 1 from the Oblivion Swell, 2 from the 2 crystals. I'm going to prep Breach 3 1 more time. So it's only 5 to open now. There's my bottled vortex. All right, this is interesting. So player turn. I'm going to drop my cards, make a mess. I'm going to cast Oblivion Swell for 2 damage. That wipes out Broodwomb. That makes me happy. I'm going to play Bottled Vortex. I'm not gonna cast this spark. I'm gonna play Bottled Vortex. I'm gonna destroy it up to 2 cards in my hand. So those are out, and I draw a card. It's another crystal. I have 3 Aether. I'm going to focus Breach number 3 again. Alright. Then if I get a Devouring Shadow, that'll be the rest of the destroying cards from my hand that I might actually want. So I probably won't buy another Bottled Vortex, but that 1 can go a long way. And then Nemesis, main phase, there is nothing. Broodwomb is dead. Draw phase. Foul Multitudes. Husks have 2 life. Damaged husks have to heal to full life at the end of each turn. Immediately we unleash 1 and 2, and their power 3 at the end of the next, in the middle of the 3rd Nemesis turn from now. The Foul Multitudes will trigger, and Carapace Queen is going to swarm. Roll the 4. 4 is a player turn. Spark, 1 damage. Bam. Going to play Bloodstone or Painstone, 1 damage, so 2 Aether, 3 Aether, 4 Aether, another Diamond Cluster, so that gets me to 8 Aether. I'm going to prep Oblivion Swell, that's 9 Aether, and I'm going to play a Crystal, so that's 10 Aether. I have 9 Aether. I'm going to use 3 of it to open this. Now I'm going to prep Oblivion Swell. It gives me another Aether. So now I have 7 Aether left to spend. And with that 7 Aether, I will get what kind of another Painstone, which is not crazy, but 7 Aether feels a little wasteful. I will take a Devouring Shadow, is interesting. I definitely need charges. I want to start controlling the order of this deck for sure. So I'm going to take 1 charge, and then I have 5 Aether left. I will take another Oblivion Swell. 1, 2, 3. The Painstone and the Oblivion Swell is such a nice combo. But we'll see. I already have 3, so I definitely don't want to take any more of those. It'd be kind of absurd. All right, Nemesis, main phase, power comes off, draw phase. What do we got? We have the Cauterizer. Oh man, he's so vicious. That damage is so bad. Especially when I don't have any healing ability and I need to get damage to do multiple damage to the husks. All right, nemesis, power, 3 damage to me. That's bad. So down to 4. So really need to be careful in when I choose to do multiple damage to the different minions. And now we draw, unleash twice. Any player suffers 2 damage. Oh, lay waste. Okay. So unleashing the first time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Unleashing the second. Unleashing twice, not swarm. Unleash. Alright, that's better, but still suffering 2 damage is no bueno. So that is out. Yowza. Alright, 2 player turns in a row. Oblivion's, well, I'm going to obviously need to go after this jerk. So Cauterizer takes a damage. I'm going to prep a flare. I'm going to prep an Oblivion Swell. I have 3 Aether. Man, I really need to get these charges. I'm going to take 1 charge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, player turn. I'm going to cast a flare. Let's see what the next card is going to be. I rolled a 4. It would be a player turn, so it would be 3 damage. I'm just going to do 1 to the Cauterizer. All right, I'm going to cast the Oblivion Swell, do another to the Cauterizer, and make sure he's out of the way. I'm going to play the Pain Stone. It does 1 damage. I'm going to prep the Oblivion Swell, prep the Spark. I have 4 Aether. I'm going to use that to get 2 charges. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, I actually had 5 Aether because of the Oblivion Swell. So I've been, again, forgetting that power, which is a little unfortunate because that 1 Aether could actually make a big difference. I don't know if it would have, how it would have made a difference. So, it is what it is. But, all right, player turn. I'm going to cast the Spark, do 1 damage. I'm going to prep the Oblivion Swell. So this is going to be 2 Aether, 1 for each of those, and 2, that's 6 Aether with the 2 diamond clusters, that's 8. So I have 2 plus 8 is 10. I'm going to open up this breach, just do it, and what I'm going to do is actually do my ability so I can control the order of the turn order deck. So again, I spend all 5 of my charges, I get 4 back. I'm going to take these 4 cards, I'm going to put them in the order of Nemesis, me, Nemesis, me for the rest of the round. And that is nice. Yeah, it's putting 4 out anyway with Fell Multitudes, so I think that makes some sense. Cool, I'll put those down. I'm drawing up to 5, 4, and 5. So I definitely want to get a ton of Pain Stones considering I can't really take a lot more damage here. So Pain Stones and spells are pretty much what I want the rest of the game. This is a Nemesis turn. This goes away. Carapace Queen swarms. So we put 4 more out. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And draw phase. Unleash twice and Gravehold suffers 3 damage. Replace the most recently discarded minion back into play. Nope, that's fine. Unleash twice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and Gravehold suffers 3 damage. That gets down to 27. Alright, player turn. Boom, Oblivion Swell. I'm going to do just wipe out 2 of these. I'm going to prep 2 of these. I'm going to play the Pain Stone, wipe out another one of these. I have 2 Aether, 3 Aether, 4 Aether, 5 Aether. With that 5 Aether, I'm going to get a charge and a Phoenix Flame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nemesis. Main phase, nothing. Draw phase. Discard, lose 4 charges. Power 2. Swarming twice. Obviously, we want to get rid of that. And then last player turn, I'm going to cast Oblivion Swell to do 1 damage. I'm going to cast Flare. The next card in the turn order deck would be a player turn. So I'm going to do 1 damage. That's fine. I have... So I don't need to use Metaphysical Link right now. I'm going to prep Spark. 2 Diamond Clusters give me 6. That's 7, 8. I'm going to lose 4 charges to get rid of Blot the Sun. Remember how I lost this mess last time. And then I'm going to get a Pain Stone with 6 of my Aether, and then my last 2 Aether, I'm going to get 1 charge back. Cool. I'm going to draw up to 5, 3, 4, and 5. We knew the next turn is my turn. I'm going to cast a Spark, deal 1 damage. I'm going to prep a Phoenix Flame, Oblivion Swell, Oblivion Swell. I'm going to get 1, 2 Aether, 3, 4 Aether. I'm going to use that Aether to get 2 more charges. Alright, drawing out the 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, next turn. It is a Nemesis turn. I rolled a 3. There's 4 cards there. Main phase, nothing. Draw phase. Power 1, spend 7, or we player with the most charges suffers 4 damage and lose all their charges. Uh-oh. This is a big roll. I need a 1, 2, or a 5, 6. Down! Oh, this game. That's why controlling the turn order is so big. Alright. Doom Aegis triggers. Player with the most charges takes 4 damage. I can only take 2. That means I give 4 damage to Gravehold, right? Because there's a remainder of 2. It means we unleash twice, which is super bad. 2, 3, 4. I lose all my charges anyway. And again, I lost a breach. Rough. Alright. Ooh, Maggot Engine. Wow, this turned around quick. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maggot Engine enters the realm. What happens is you unleash 3 times. So that's 6 more husks. You double the amount of husks in play. There are 14 husks in play, so we're going to give 28 health to the Maggot Engine. Yikes. None of that's good. Alright, so what is good is I have 2 player turns in a row. So it potentially gives me a chance to kind of get some control back, but I'm basically going to be racing to get back to these 5 health quick. So what I want to do, I'm not going to cast the Phoenix Flame, doesn't make any sense. I'm going to definitely want to make sure, yikes, how can I get those charges back? No, I'm not going to want to spend charges anyway, so let me get rid of it. So Phoenix Flame is in the cast. It's 2 damage, plus 1 because it's coming from Breach 3. So that's 3 damage. Maggot, I think it makes sense to try to just go after Maggot Engine hard because he's going to swarm every time, and it's just, none of this is good for me. So Oblivion Swell, I'm going to discard. I'm going to cast that. I'm going to discard a Pain Stone. So Oblivion Swell does 2 damage plus 1 plus the 6. So that's 9 damage. And then I'm going to prep another Oblivion Swell and a Flare. That's, I have 1, 2 Aether from the Oblivion Swell. It's 2 more Aether. That's 4 Aether. I'm going to get 2 charges. And that's interesting. I'm going to draw up to 5. Oh, this is a first player turn. Sorry. Next turn, 6, is going to be, I'm going to cast the Flare. So it's 1 damage, maybe 2. We'll see what the next card is. It is, would it be a Nemesis turn? Maybe 4, I mean, but it's just 2. So obviously that was what it would be at the top of the deck, but I'm going to change that. So I do 2 damage with the Flare. I'm going to cast the Oblivion Swell. Discard the Bloodstone. That's 9 more damage. I keep that Oblivion Swell there. I have 8 Aether to spend. I'm going to spend 6 on charges. I'm going to use Metaphysical Link. So I spend 5 charges. I get 4 back. And then I'm going to take a look at this turn order deck including the nemesis that nemesis card I revealed in the casting phase. I'm gonna go player. I think I do player, nemesis, nemesis. I usually like to end on a player because then I can change it, but I really need to be front loaded some turns here pretty importantly. So yeah, I usually like have the player turn at the end because then I can kind of reset things. Let me do player, nemesis, player. I think that will give me 2 turns to kind of get control of where I'm at. So I spent 6 of the 8 Aether to load that up. I spent it. I have 2 more Aether, so I can load this up again, which is great. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Act surprised, everyone. It's a player turn. Cool. We get 2 player turns in a row. That's fine. So I'm going to cast the Oblivion Swell. That's 2 damage. Now I can still do this multiple thing, but I have to take a damage, and since I'm knocked out, any 1 damage I take to try to knock out multiple husks, I would have to give 2 damage to Gravehold. So I'm going to give 2 damage to... I'm going to deal 2 damage to... 2 damage to Maggot. So he's got 3 left. Maggot Engine is such a great name. I'm going to prep an Oblivion Swell. I'm going to prep a Phoenix Flame. I'm going to prep a Spark. I have a 1 Aether from the Oblivion Swell and then 2 Aether from the crystals. I'm going to get another Phoenix Flame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I think this will work. I'm going to, next turn is a player turn. So I said, oh, Phoenix Flame. I'm going to do 3 damage. I'm not going to lose a thing. So that's fine. Maggot Engine's dead. I'm going to then I'm going to cast the Oblivion Spell, still in the casting phase. I'm going to discard the Pain Stone. So that'd be 9 damage. I'm going to take a damage. I can't because I'm already knocked out. So 2 damage to Gravehold, 9 damage to the husks. So that's 4, 8, 9. And then I'm going to cast a Spark to get 1 more down. All right, I'm going to prep Oblivion Spell, prep Flare. I have 3. Again, I'm going to get another Phoenix Flame and just try to load up on some spells here that are cheap. And again, if it only does 2 damage, I'm just trying to knock these off one at a time anyway. All right, so we have 2 nemesis turns in a row. Main phase, draw phase. Immediately unleash twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Power 2. Discard half the husks in play, round it up. Gravehold suffers 2 damage for each husk discarded this way, and then the Carapace Queen will swamp. So if that happened right now, the Gravehold would suffer 8 damage, and then I would have to discard a spell, and then 2 more husks would go into play. All right. So again, Nemesis again. Bam, power card. So Legion Beacon has 1 power left. Oh, Jagged One. Oh, Jagged One. That's not great. Cool. And then player turns to Jagged One, unleashes twice as a persistent effect. My turn now. I'm going to try to kill the Jagged One. So I'm going to cast the Flare. It's at least 2 damage, maybe 4. I rolled a 2, so it is 4. So that knocks him down to 10. And then I'm going to cast Oblivion Spell. I'm going to discard a Bloodstone, so 9 damage. 1 health left on Jagged One. I'm going to then... Yeah, that's fine. I could do that. Next turn, I have 8 Aether, because 2 diamond clusters and 2 crystals. With my 8 Aether, I'm going to get a Pain Stone. Nope. Do I? No. None of these are great. I'll get a Phoenix Flame and an Oblivion Swell. I mean, it's at least 2 damage, so it's fine. Whatever. These go on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know this is a player turn because of Flare. So I'm going to prep. I'm going to use my special ability with Metaphysical Link. So I spend 5, I get 4 back. I'm going to arrange this how I want. I'm going to go player, nemesis, nemesis, player again. I think that makes the most sense. So I'll put this face down, because we know what it is. And then I will spend these 2 Aether to get myself a charge. Oh, I had 3 Aether actually, but I'll just take the 2 to get those charges back up. 4 and 5. Again, it is a player turn. Phoenix Flame is going to wipe out the Jagged one. He's dead. Phoenix Flame is going to wipe out 1 husk. I will let the others live. I'm going to... Oh, well, I have so many... Never mind. I have so many spells. I'm going to cast the Oblivion spell to do another husk. I mean, that's fine. I'll cast the Oblivion spell. I'll discard the Pain Stone. That's 9 damage. I would take 1. I can't, so that gets 2 damage to Gravehold. Everything's wiped out. I'm going to prep. I have 2 Aether. I don't need it, so we're good. Draw up to 5. 5. Nemesis turn. Legion Beacon comes off. Discard half the husks in play. There are none. Carapace Queen swarms. She swarms when there's no husks. She puts 4 more husks back on the board. That's the main draw phase. Destroy 2. So it unleashed 3 times. And I can discard that by destroying 2 prep spells that cost 3 or more. Obviously, that's not happening because the next turn is a Nemesis turn, which is why I try to avoid back-to-back Nemesis turns. But I really needed those. I needed to front load my player turns with how those cards came out. But that's fine. So Nemesis turn. This goes away. Reality Rupture triggers. We unleash 3 more times. So 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, and 6. We're going to draw a card now. Gravehold suffers 4 damage. And the player with the lowest life suffers 4 damage. That would be 12 damage to Gravehold. Wow. Or I shuffle both the Nemesises back in. No thanks. I mean, but can it actually be worse than that? Right? That's the question. Can it be worse than that? It's so crazy. All right, you know what? I think it's nuts. But if I give 12 damage to Gravehold, I mean, again, the worst part about Sunder, which is what this card is if there's multiple cards in the main phase that you'd have to cycle through again, it's a bad idea. But whatever. I don't have any cards there, so I think I have to do this. But that means this shuffles, so I have no control over the order anymore. So I'm really losing Xaxos's strength here. So we'll just put that face up. I don't know why I bothered shuffling. And now we're gonna roll. I rolled a 5, 6, so it's another Nemesis turn. Main phase, draw phase. Discard. We need to spend 8 to discard. The player with the most life suffers damage equal to their life. I'm already dead. Who cares? Not an awful. So Dire Abertar. It came in the Depths expansion, or is it the Depths one? I think it was Depths. It's really not that awful in a solo game when you're already dead. I mean, it could be really bad if you're not already dead, but that's fine. I'm gonna roll for the next one. It is a player turn, so there's nothing to really attack. I'm gonna go Oblivion Swell, discard this, take 2 damage to Gravehold, 9 damage to Husks. So that's 7, that's 9, there were 10 there. I'm going to, I have 3 spells. I lowered a level of spells. So I'm going to do Phoenix Flame, lose a charge, do 5 damage to the Carapace Queen. There was 2 plus 2 because I discarded the charge, plus the 1 because it was from Breach 3. And I'll cast the Spark and get rid of the last Husk. I'm going to prep. I have a purchase power of 3. I'm going to use that just to get my charge back. Get up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a nemesis turn. I mean, I do have 8. Cool. I mean, there's no point in getting rid of that, actually. So who cares? Dire Arbiter loses a power. That's the main phase, draw phase. Unleash twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gravehold suffers 4 damage. I thought I miscounted Nemesis cards for a sec. I'm not used to using that shuffle all the cards back when there's both of them in the turn order discard pile. So yeah, I actually am right. And now we go to the next turn. It is a 6, useless, 1, player turn. Bam. All right. What am I going to do? I'm going to, whatever, cast Oblivion Swell. 1 damage, cast Oblivion Swell, 1 damage, cast Flare. Looking at the next card on the deck, it is a player turn. Great, 1 damage. I'm going to play Phoenix Flame, and you know what? I'll just use the 8 to get rid of that anyway because it feels cheaty to not. Whatever, it's fine. I had the 8. I had the 2 diamond clusters and the 2 crystals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Player turn, Phoenix Flame, gonna deal 5 more damage to the Carapace Queen. So she's down to 50. I'm going to prep. I have 3/8 total. I'm just gonna use a 2 to get myself back to 5. Then I'm gonna do that ability. I spend the 5, I get 3 back, and I want to make the player card last. Last? Yeah. Sure, last. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Cool. I should have done it next because I have all these paint stones, but that's fine. Alright, Nemesis turn. Main phase, draw phase. Any player places their discard pile on top of their deck, shuffles it, and destroys the top 4 cards, then unleash twice. That unleash twice is the worst part of that card. That is the Gather Darkness. Darkness is gathering. So Gather Darkness. Darkness is gathering. We are so shuffling. I'm going to destroy 4 cards. I destroy a crystal, a spark, a Phoenix Flame, and a diamond cluster. That could have been worse. And then we're unleashing twice, which means I put 4 more husks out. So there's 5 husks total. All right, so that's done. Next, Nemesis Fern, main phase, draw phase. Carapace Queen. Oh, she swarms. So I have to discard a spell. I'm going to discard a Phoenix Flame. She unleashes. And then she swarms again. 5 damage to Gravehold. Gravehold is down to 18. Or down to 8, not 18. I wish it was 18. Okay. Player turn. I am going to cast the Oblivion spell. I'm going to discard the Pain Stone. I'm going to do 2 damage to Gravehold. There are no more cards in the Carapace Queen's thing, and I have killed all of her husks. So that is basically the end. The other way that's more interesting, so there were 7 on there. I'm curious. So if you, again, so you win when there's no more minions, and these do count as minions, right? But if I just left the 7 and I tried to actually kill her, then it becomes like this little bit of a race, because what's going to happen on her turn is that she's just going to unleash 3 times. Which means that she's going to put 6 minions on the board, or 6 husks on the board every time. And eventually, again, that fills it up. Now, she's never going to swarm again. But if she does that twice, so she does it once, she's here. She does it again, that's 4 damage to Gravehold. She does it again, that's 6 damage to Gravehold, right? Because it's 1 damage to Gravehold per husk that I can't place on the board. So if I did this differently, right? Say I did the same spell, but instead of taking the damage, so I put the 2 health back, I started damaging the Carapace Queen. She's at 41. And then I could do Phoenix Flame. I'll do this. That's 5 more. She'd be at 36. Then I could prep the Oblivion Swell, prep the Phoenix Flame. I would have one. I would have five. I would have 5 Aether between the Oblivion Swell. The Painstone would do 1 damage. Then I'd get her down to 35. I would put these on. Then I would set the turn order deck with Metaphysical Link. I get 4 charges back. We can do player, 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 nemesis. This would come here. I would draw to my hand. And then what we could do is player turn. I would leave Oblivion Swell until I got a Painstone, ideally. So I would just prep the flare. I would have a total of 7 Aether. I would spend 2 Aether just to load this up. Right, I draw up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I did not get a Painstone. Next would be a player turn. So I would cast the Oblivion spell. Ooh, that would have been. I should have done 9 damage when I had the chance. So I'd be with 3 damage, get her down to 32. Phoenix Flame comes off. That gets to 27. I can cast this. It's going to be a player turn. That's 3 damage. It gets to 24. I know that her turn, she's just going to be doing damage to Gravehold. So I think what makes sense is I would prep. I'd spend this Aether. So I'd have 3 Aether total. I would get this back. I would do my ability, and I would actually put this on the bottom. I would need to make sure that I don't give the Carapace Queen 3 turns in a row, just so I can survive this, right? Because I know I can't. Could I win on the next turn? 9, 14. I don't think I can win on the next turn. Huh. That's interesting. I put it on the bottom, and then that there's a reason why I did that. All right, that's cool. So that would go here. I draw up to 5, so I have to keep the Oblivion spell in my hand. There's 2 Painstones. Oh, that's beautiful. So what happens next? Carapace Queen. She swarms. She unleashes 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then Nemesis, Carapace Queen, unleashes 3 times. She can only unleash fully once. There's 4 more husks that should be added, so that's 4 damage to Gravehold. And then my turn, I think I can actually get the 24. Yeah, so I can cast Oblivion spell, discard Painstone. That gets Carapace Queen from 24 down to 15. Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm like 1 shot. Oh, that's hilarious. All right, then I would cast Oblivion spell again. Get rid of Painstone. Then I would go 15 down to 6. I would prep Oblivion Swell and Phoenix Flame. I'd have 2 Aether. I would use that Aether to get 5. I'd use Metaphysical Link. I would set this turn order deck however I want, with the 3 player turns on top. I would draw up to 5. And then the first turn, bam, I could use Oblivion Swell and discard a diamond. That is 7 damage, and that would kill the Carapace Queen. So that's like the 2 different ways that you can kill her. You just see how those spells get really, really strong together. The Painstone, I was kind of looking at it more just to pick off the husk, but I guess it was way more useful in actually, between that and the Oblivion Swell, way more useful to take chunk damage out of the Carapace Queen. But it's a cool little puzzle, the Carapace Queen one. The order can get really wonky, where I've had more than enough games that I lost that I was doing really well, and then all of a sudden you unleash twice, and then this guy comes out, and all of a sudden he has 20 health, and then his persistent effect of swarming is just bananas. So you're just kind of stuck. I don't think Xaxos is the best, Breach Mage against Carapace Queen. I had a lot more success with what's her name, Brahma. I thought was really strong. That ability for her to deal 4, it was like you could really willy-nilly just do damage to the husks as much as you could and always max it out because you're always healing yourself that 4. So that was a really nice benefit. But again, I only played with one market, and I don't really remember what was there. So it could have just been a very, very lucky turns with the market. You know, and again, just I had a one game with Adelheim that was totally bananas, because I was like, oh, I win, because I'm looking at it and I was like this. There was nothing left in the deck, and then I was like, wait, aren't those minions? And I'm like, sure enough, right there, each one of those suckers is a minion. So then it was like that game of like making sure, and I can't remember whether I wiped the minions out or whether I did what I did here. You know, well, the second way I won, where I actually wiped down Carapace Queen to 0. But just a very, very, I think actually at that point I did go after her, because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it was with Adelheim, and I had his health was way, way down. That is it. Cool game. Really digging Aeon's End. Miss Playthroughs is really digging Aeon's End, so that makes me dig it even more. Gonna come back next time. We will go to the Prince of Gluttons. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a cool one. I really like that mechanic. It's a very, very interesting game. And hopefully this is a nice example with the epic loss and then the win, about how the different markets can really change. Again, as I've said, if I don't, with most markets, you know, in most mage combinations, I feel like you can find a way to win. Obviously, there's a lot of swinginess with certain markets than others, and sometimes it's just not meant to be. That first market, I don't know how many times I would have had to play before I pulled out a win, and it would have just, I would have needed the exact right order of cards to come out, and would have gone, had to get very lucky there. Man, this the Quarterizer looks like a wuss. When you're like, oh, he's only got 3 health, like what? But man, this can really, when you only have 10 health in a true solo game, this can really, 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 really make your day really rough. But that is about it. So bring it in the comments. Again, I really appreciated all the feedback from the first time. I will continue to try to experiment with this game and how I present it. And we will, you know, what I got 11 nemesises in this box. Nemesis in this box. I think it's NEMESES. I think with the plural. I think that's what one of my patrons put in a comment last time. And I will have obviously 2 more coming my way. I think it's only 2 in War Eternal, so very excited about that. Maybe it's 4. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll have tons and tons of content to be featuring on this channel in the weeks and months to come. You can always go on my Patreon page. You can see the upcoming schedule with what is coming up. Make sure you mark your calendar accordingly. And until next time, happy gaming.